Hello and welcome, dear students of class 11th. I, Kazim Ali, welcome you all to this online class. Today we are going to take up another lesson from your English textbook. The lesson is titled The Many and the None. It's a prose piece based on environmental facts, environmental issues written by Ashish Kothari and Bansuri Taneja. So before we begin the lesson, as usual, let's read about the authors. Please open your books on page number 78. Ashish Kothari is one of the founding members of the Environmental Action Group Kalpavriksha, started in 1979. So Ashish Kothari is a founding member, that is, he was a founder of this environmental group called Kalpavriksha, which was founded in 1979. He is currently the coordinator of the Technical and Policy Core Group to formulate India's National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. So, he is currently the coordinator for the Technical and Policy Group, and he is currently the coordinator for Technical and Policy Group of the India's National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. He is a member of several government committees, including the Expert Group on Biodiversity Act, the Committee to Revise the National Wildlife Action Plan, and the Environmental Appraisal Committee for River Valley Projects. So he is a member of different committees. All these are important essential committees which are usually set by government agencies, government bodies to look into serious matters. So he is a member of all these important committees. He is the head of IUCN Inter-Commission Task Force on Local Communities and Protected Areas, and is on the board of Greenpeace International. So he is also member of all of these international bodies. So the other author, the co-author of the text, Bansuri Taneja, is also part of the team involved in developing India's National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. So both of these writers are part of the India's National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. So we will begin the text. So open your books at page number 74. This is the 8th lesson of your English textbook. So in the pre-reading we are given some tasks. So let's see and let's read and find out what are they. Do you notice any change in the climate or vegetation in your place? So this is basically asking the readers, asking the students about what changes they usually see in their locality, in their town, in their city. Do you think certain varieties of plants, vegetables and animals are disappearing from the earth? So the second question is asking us do you think that any of the so many varieties we have on earth of plants, animals or vegetables, are they disappearing from the earth? What do you think is causing such disappearances? If such a thing is happening, if you think that disappearances are taking place, so what is the cause? What is the reason behind it? Exchange your views on these questions in groups and then have a class discussion. So the students are needed to discuss these things in groups and then present their present their solutions to the class, or present their conclusion to the whole class. Reading. Now read the following passage on biodiversity. So we will begin the lesson, and the lesson is a prose piece, an essay on biodiversity, that is the different variety of flora and fauna which is so characteristic of our Mother Earth. Variety, they say, is the spice of life. So the prose begins with this short sentence that variety, that is of different kinds, that is of options. Variety is the spice of life. That is the beautiful, one of the main happening thing, one of the enjoying thing in life is having variety. One of the best part of human existence, or one of the best part of our existence is to have variety. That is variety in anything. How boring if after that the narrator gives us the writer gives us some examples. How boring if each day were like the other, and how distasteful if we had to eat the same dish every day. So if we had to spend our lives in a way that each day was exactly the copy of the past day of the bygone day. So if every day was were like similar, and if we had to eat the same meal, the same thing all the time, all the time, then it would, how it would be like, how boring, how distasteful, how annoying it would be. We hear the word often, but how often do we think about what biodiversity means to us? We hear this word biodiversity in newspapers, in news, in general conversation, but how many times we do think of them seriously, and how we analyze, how we see that what this biodiversity term means to me. In the urban centers of modern India, where middle class lives, in the big cities where most of the Indian middle class lives, a diversity of food is what might bring biodiversity to a level we can understand. So, different varieties of dish, if we talk of different varieties of dish, then only would they be able to understand what is biodiversity. How would it be if we only had potatoes, or for that matter aubergine, to live on? So if it happened that in those big cities, and with those middle class families, if they had to eat the same potato every day or the same aubergine every day, how would they feel like? How would they rate their lives? They would say that our lives are mundane, repetitive, boring, annoying. Or only one variety of mango throughout India, instead of the several hundred that one can savor through the few months of summer. Or if it happened in this way, that we all over India had a single species, single variety of mango, instead of all the other hundreds which we enjoy so far, which we enjoy like usually, which we have to present to our dining plates every year, throughout the year. So if that is removed, and only a single variety of mango is presented to us throughout India for the whole summer season, how would it be? It would again be boring, again be repetitive. So after giving these examples, the writers present what biodiversity actually means. Biodiversity is the variety and variability of life on earth. So biodiversity means the different types and the different changes which we see on the earth, in according to the flora and fauna. It is manifest in close to 1,000 varieties of mangoes that thrive in India. So a beautiful example of biodiversity is the different varieties of mango we have all over India. These different varieties, different species of mango tells us that these are part of the biodiversity, because all of these mangoes have come from different mango plants. It is present in the 14 different kinds of wood we see depressingly inlaid to make a wall painting. So again, if there is a wall painting being done, the different varieties of wood we see there also points towards biodiversity. And if we extend our minds a little more, we should be able to see that it also means the vibrant colors that characterize Holi and Indian clothes. So if we further imagine, if we further utilize our brains, our minds, then we can easily see that the different colors which we use in the festival of Holi, or the different colorful clothes we Indians usually make and wear, which comes or used to till synthetics took over from variety of dye producing plants. So all these kind of different colors which we use in Holi, and the different types and colors of clothes we usually wear, they have come from dye producing plants. They are result of different plants which make or which produce different type of dye. So all this results in giving us a different type of clothes and different type of clothes. So colors. So unless and until there is a biodiversity of plants which produces different colors, we cannot have different colors for Holi or different colors to dye our clothes in. So therefore biodiversity also is evident in this example. And of course it also means the tiger and the rhino and the elephant, charismatic animals that evoke awe and excitement, and which are used as flagship species for conservation programs. So the writers tell us that the different animals we usually hear or we usually see, like tigers, like rhino, like elephants, which are so attractive that they evoke in us some sense of excitement, some sense of awe. They or sometimes they are used as main animals for conservation programs. They are also an evidence of the biodiversity we have on earth. Finally, it also includes the range of natural and human influenced ecosystem that we live amidst: forests, lakes and rivers, coasts and seas, grassland, agricultural fields and pastures, deserts, snow-bound peaks, even urban areas with vestiges of vegetation and water bodies. So all these which I just read out, all these are again examples to tell us that humans do live among biodiversity, among different types of ecosystem, different types of animals, different types of plants. For example, if we live near a forest, we will see different types of plants and animals and if we live near a sea, near a coast, we will see different types of animals and plants. So these are all varieties which we live among, which remind us constantly about the different types of plants and animals which surround us. Perhaps the least obvious aspect of biodiversity is genetic. So the many reasons, if we try to find out the many reasons behind this biodiversity which is so characteristic of the earth, then we can realize that one of the reasons which is so less commonly thought by, like less commonly visible to everyone, is the genetics. Because genetic component of the flora and fauna is so diverse, so having so much variety that it gives to different types of animals, different types of persons, different types of plants. Variety in what constitutes the basic building blocks of all life is also the base of continuous evolution, and we should not forget that we humans are products of the same process. So the basic building blocks of all life, that means cells, when the cells have so much variety in terms of genetic makeup, in terms of genetic codes, so these things are the reason of the continuous evolution we have in our lives. And we should not forget, and the humans should not forget, that we are also part of this variety, because the genes which we have in our cells are also having all these different type of codes and different types of combinations. So these again brings some sense of diversity in our cells. Even if we sometimes in our technological bravado think we are apart from nature, even if humans, because of their technological edge, because of their technological know-how, starts thinking of themselves as different from nature, but still we are part of nature and we are witnessing biodiversity in our lives. Because if I give you an example, we see different types of person in our society. Even siblings are not similar, even siblings born to the same parents are not similar. So all these are diverse, different forms, different types, different shapes, different facial this recognition, different physical build-up. All these are due to the variety which is encoded by the genetic makeup. So we are also part of this biodiversity. Diversity in genes also provide the basis for continued survival in the face of new or changing environment. So whatever environmental or whatever new changes we suffer, we had to face, it is our genetic diversity that help us to fight them, helps us to overcome them. When the number of lions or orangutans or a plant species decrease, these species lose their resilience to environmental changes or to genetic decay or eventually succumb. So whenever the population of a species die, or it starts dwindling, it starts decreasing, their ability to fight the environmental constants, the environmental issues, it also decreases, because the diversity which they enjoyed is decreasing. Therefore their power to to bear the environmental issues, to bear the environmental stresses, also die, and ultimately they gave up, they succumb to the environmental pressure. So this diversity is keeping us alive and kicking, and also helping us to cope, to to fight with the environmental problems or environmental issues. So this was all in the first part of the video lesson. Thank you so much for watching.